We are going over Levant this time. Levant is a large size character, which means he takes up 4 spaces. Let's start with his abilities. Shield Bash deals 60% base damage as physical damage to the target and pushes it back 3 tiles. Levant upgrades Shield Bash with excessive force. Shield Bash now pushes back 2 additional tiles. The last line spawns an impassable, indestructible wall of spectral shields at the target location. The wall lasts for 2 turns. Levant upgrades the last in line with Caught in the Middle. Shield walls spawned by the last in line are now 2 tiles longer. Holy Diver teleports to an empty space, deals 50% base damage as fire to all enemies around the point of impact, applies stun for 1 turn, ignores line of sight. Levant upgrades Holy Diver with Sunset Superman. Holy Diver now has its maximum range increased by 2. Holy Nova deals 65% base damage as fire to enemies in range, grants 20% shield to all allies in range. Levant increases Holy Nova with Resplendence. Holy Nova now grants an additional benefit of generating 10% maximum shield on Levant for each friendly target hit. Reduces Holy Nova's cooldown period by 1. Cry of the Brave applies silence for 1 turn to all enemies on the battlefield. Levant increases Cry of the Brave with Cry for Eternity. Cry of the Brave now no longer costs any authority points to use. However, the ability cooldown increases to 8. Now, Levant is really great at controlling the battlefield. He does so first with his size. As you can see, he takes up considerable more space, and he can block enemies from moving where he really doesn't want them to go. For instance, this creature, this Elamite warrior, could be blocked just by him moving to block 1 single space. This is because the Elamite creature is also large, and so won't be able to bypass Levant. Now, let's talk about his first ability, and that is Shield Bash. So right now, Shield Bash deals 60% of damage as physical damage to the target and pushes back 3 tiles. I do have this upgraded. Let's go ahead and show you that I can keep the enemy moving back and forth with it. And so you see, it goes quite a bit back. Now, that means that not only am I protecting my allies here, Griffith and Diego, but it means that this enemy is going to have to move up in order to deal with them. The second ability that Levant has is the Last in Line. This is going to spawn a light wall, and as you can see, the Elamite warrior is not going to get past this. Now, it is increased at this time due to Caught in the Middle, but there isn't any getting past this through damage. This Elamite warrior will have no choice but to move, but there isn't any damaging to get past this. This just exists, and the enemy cannot move past it. The third ability Levant has is Holy Diver. Holy Diver teleports Levant to an enemy space, deals 50% base damage as fire to all enemies around the point of impact, applies stun for 1 turn, and ignores line of sight. So you can see, Levant is able to move directly here, stun the enemy, preventing them from acting, and ultimately, once again, control where enemies can and can't move. In this case, due to his ability to reposition himself anywhere within range, as well as block, again, larger creatures from moving past him. His fourth ability is Holy Nova. Now deals 65% of base damage as fire damage to enemies in range, grants 20% shields to allies in range. So you see in this case, I don't have any enemies in range to deal damage to, but when I use it, I grant shields to everyone. Now, Levant won't actually grant shields to himself until this gets upgraded. And when that happens, this is his only way of actively getting shields back for himself. Now, you'll notice here I do have Levant paired up with Esther. Esther has the capability of allowing one ally to use an ability without triggering cooldown, including their signature abilities. However, with this, Levant can actively boost the shields of his allies and of himself every single turn if you're using other characters like Quinn, who are great at maintaining shields, or other characters who need shields in order to survive basic attacks. It is not the most aggressive strategy, but depending on the damage output of your enemies, it can be quite useful. And now we get to Levant's signature ability, where I was not all that impressed with the signature ability of Signy. I must say, Levant's signature ability can be quite useful, especially when upgraded. And I say that because the upgrade removes the authority point cost, but increases the cooldown rate from 5 to 8. Now again, I mentioned earlier that Esther has an ability to make sure that he doesn't activate the cooldown on any abilities. This means I'd be able to use his ultimate signature ability every single turn. And that is Cry of the Brave. Apply silence for 1 turn to all enemies on the field. Now you can see it's not a guaranteed hit, but when we take a look at silenced, cannot act, may move as normal. You can control the entire battlefield and keep the enemies from attacking, all with that one ability, and this combination every single turn, if you can get Levant's bond all the way up so that he is granting the free use of Cry of the Brave, along with Esther's use of, I believe it is Tinker, in order to really keep enemies that are susceptible to status effects from doing anything. Again, enemies can parry this. Enemies can be not affected by silence. But here you're once again controlling the battlefield, ensuring that you are able to prevent the enemies from actually damaging you or your allies. And that gets me to where Levant stands for me. Now, when I first got him, I thought he was going to be a really good tank. But as I understood his abilities more, he's not really a tank in the traditional sense. He isn't designed to take a lot of damage. He doesn't have any sources to consistently prevent damage. But what he has is sources to prevent the attacks from actually occurring, either against him through uses of pushback, uses of the wall, uses of Cry of the Brave, or his allies. Again, we have the last in line, we have Cry of the Brave, and then his sheer size. So, while he may not be a tank in the traditional sense, he can keep your party alive by simply controlling the battlefield, which makes him a little bit more difficult to use than your average tank. But pair him with the great passive abilities, especially passive abilities which make up for his lack of shield granting, and you're going to find yourself with a character that can do quite a bit on the map. Now, if you've enjoyed this in-depth look at Levant, then make sure you stay tuned. Let me know if this series is something that you like. I am hoping to move forward with it, with more characters, and I probably will, but I'll also be watching to see if people enjoy this, because these videos take a little bit more work than the typical Let's Play video that I do, and I want to make sure that we're getting the most out of what people enjoy, and what I enjoy as well. So, let me know below in the comments, let me know whether you like this with thumbs ups or thumbs downs, and make sure you subscribe to catch them as they come out. In the meantime, I am NdoNosCi. As always, have fun.